Dehendriya gunan karman yamale satchidatmani adhyasyantya vivekena gagane nilatadivat. Dehendriya gunan, qualities of the body and senses. Karmani, actions. Amale, pure. Satchidatmani, on the Ātman, the absolute existence knowledge. Adhyasyanti, superimpose. Avivekena, by lack of discrimination. Gagane, on the sky. Nilatadivat, blue color and the like. Through non-discrimination, fools superimpose the characteristics and functions of the body and senses on the stainless Ātman, just as people superimpose traits like blueness and concavity on the sky.
Namaste. Well, today must be Superimposition Day. The verse is about superimposition, and I got superimposed on twice before breakfast. I mean, even before my first cup of tea. So, just as fools superimpose the characteristics and functions of the body on the stainless Ātman, other fools, or maybe the same ones, try to superimpose material functions and categories on the self-realized beings. Either way, it's not happening. It's not happening because the first trick we learned was to expand beyond all limitations. That's the meaning of Brahman. Brahman is the greatest. So it's beyond all classifications, boundaries, divisions, and so on. Smaller categories of that. We don't fit. We're too big. Huh? One guy, he was proposing that I should allow him to interview me for a YouTube video. And I told him, well, you know, the first thing you want to do is get familiar with my work, the whole span of the videos. And he said, yeah, first you were Hare Krishna, then you were this, then you were something else, then you were an Advaitin. And I said, no. I am not any of those things. I was simply presenting various purification processes as preliminaries to realization of Brahman. He didn't get it. He kept trying. So I told him, no, forget it. I'm not going to do the interview. And then somebody tried to get me to act as a Kula Guru and do some family-related rituals, Shraddha or something. That's not who I am. That's not what I'm about. That's not what I'm for. What I'm for is that you learn about Advaita, the non-duality. You do the purification in your own time, and then you realize it. And once you realize it, you'll understand how the liberated soul does not fit in any category of type or function. He is beyond it. That's the whole point. The point is that Brahman is beyond all divisions, all categories, all classifications, and all functions. So being identical with Brahman means that one is the same. This is sannyasa. Sannyasa means giving up all connection with external, mundane religious activities. So one has no more karma to perform, no more rituals, no more family functions, no more sectarian interests. Although, by comparative study, we have to admit that the Vedas, and especially the Upanishads, express the reality of oneness better than any other tradition. So we use that in our teaching work. That's all. It doesn't mean we are that. No, we have gone beyond all of those superimpositions. Like fools, actually in the Upanishads, the original text from which this is derived, says fools like boys and others. In other words, kids. Superimpose the idea of blueness and concavity on the sky. The sky means akash, space. But space is neither blue nor concave. So where do we get those ideas? From our senses. And then we try to superimpose the materials or concepts gathered through the senses on that which is actually unlimited. This is foolishness. That's why they're called fools. Silly boys. So we don't accept any of that. We don't acknowledge it. And we certainly don't try to live up to it. If somebody calls us this or that, it doesn't mean we have to accept it. And we don't. We say, I am beyond all changes, actions, even beyond all knowledge. Because knowledge depends on words. And words are symbols, and symbols are not the things they represent. So yeah, you can pile a bunch of words on anybody. That doesn't mean they have anything to do with reality. This happens all the time in the world. Just look at all the propaganda in the news. Depending on which country you access the news from, you get a different story, because that's what the leaders of that country want you to think. But that's not the reality. The reality is that Brahman is beyond all designations, all concepts, all thoughts, what to speak of all actions. So there is no appropriate description for Brahman except neti neti. It's not this, it's not this, it's not this. It's not your idea. Your idea is bogus because it's limited, because it's couched in the form of symbols, words, terminology. And yes, correct knowledge and use of terminology is important in the preliminary stage. That's how you get the concept or ideas of Brahman to begin with. But when it comes to realization, it's beyond all that. Far, far beyond. That from which the words and mind fall away, unsuccessful to describe it or grasp it. That is Brahman. So when we realize Brahman, we become identical with Brahman, or actually we already are nothing but Brahman. We just simply recognize it. That's realization. Not anything new, not anything added or manufactured or fabricated, but simply recognizing the reality, what already is, and then living that. That means not to be attached to anything, not to try to do anything, not to try to be anything, because we already are Brahman. You know, what more could we try to be? There isn't anything more. So we take all of these speculative philosophies with a grain of salt, or actually, about a tablespoon of salt. That nothing can describe the situation of the realized being, just as there's no way to describe the actual situation of Brahman. One can simply say, no, this is not it, this is not it. Neti neti. That's all. So if that definition is how the Upanishads describe Brahma, that is also how we describe it. And when someone tries to superimpose some designation on us, we have to simply say, no, that's not it. Sorry, I'm not going to be that. I'm not going to do that. That is not who I am. Who am I? Aham Brahmasmi. And you know what? Tattvamasi.
Om Tat Sat. Om Shakti.